Equal to what? You know what I mean. I really don't. I'm 31, and I have a group of friends I've known since high school, the kind of group that's been slowly thinning out for years in the way that happens when people get married and relocate and just generally start preferring their couch on Saturday nights. The core of it has been for a very long time me and a girl named Claire, and a guy I'll call Marcus, who just got married in April. Marcus has been one of my closest friends since we were 15. Claire has known him even longer. She and I have been friends since we were 9 or 10, which is 2 full decades, and that's its own kind of gravity. We split the hotel room in Savannah because flights from where we live are not nothing, and a shared room is just what you do when the wedding is in a destination city and you're in your early 30s. We drove to the airport together in her car. The drive was easy, the way drives are when you've been in a car with someone 100 times before. Same coffee orders, same gas station with the terrible eggs and excellent hash browns. Nothing about any of that felt like the kind of thing you'd remember later. But the day after the wedding, when we went back to the hotel to pack, the energy in the room felt different in a way I kept not quite naming. You doing okay? You've been kind of quiet. Yeah, just tired. Weddings are a lot. Good tired or bad tired? Just tired. Okay, we don't have to talk. Claire had been quieter since the reception. I filed it away as tired or hungover, or just the low-grade deflation that hits after you've been sociable for 2 days straight. What I didn't understand was that she'd been watching Marcus all weekend in a way I hadn't interpreted correctly. Not strange watching, just very specific watching. Who he came to first, who he pulled aside during the cocktail hour, who he hugged longer, who he waved at from across the room, and who he walked over to. I didn't know she was doing that. I found out later she'd been doing some version of it for years. I went with him, when he was picking the ring. I didn't know that. 3 hours, we were in there 3 hours. That's a long time. He asked me specifically, not just whoever was around. Right. What came out in the hotel room on the last evening was not a fight exactly. It wasn't loud. It was more like a filing cabinet being opened, carefully, and documents being removed one by one and placed on the table between us. She mentioned the jewelry store, how she had gone with Marcus 3 years ago when he was trying to pick out an engagement ring, how they'd spent 3 hours in there, how she had helped him choose. I hadn't known about the jewelry store specifically. The way she told it, not warmly, not like a memory she was fond of, but like something she was presenting as evidence of a claim, was the part I kept coming back to afterward. What are you actually saying right now? I'm just saying some things were never equal, that's all. Equal to what? You know what I mean. I really don't. You've always kind of just slotted in, and that's fine. But it's a different thing. I don't fully remember the sequence of what was said after that. I remember the hotel room smelled like the automatic coffee maker that had gone off at 6 a.m. Even though neither of us had set it, this burnt, slightly plasticky smell that had been hanging in the air all day. At some point, the thing she was saying was essentially that I had always been positioned as a newcomer to her friendship with Marcus, that my version of knowing him was different from her version, lesser somehow, and that certain things had never sat right with her. 20 years of friendship, and I was finding out there was an account running somewhere that I had never been shown. A tally of small things that had accumulated in a way I apparently should have been monitoring. I'm going to head out early. My flights. I just need to get going. We have the same flight. I changed it. When did you change it? Last night. I need some space on the way back. She left the next morning before I woke up. The parking spot where her car had been was empty. I had a flight home I was supposed to be on with her. My luggage was still in the room. My phone showed no missed calls. Just a Venmo notification from before the trip. A weather notification, and a text from my mother about something she'd seen on the news. I looked at the empty parking spot from the window for a while, and then I went back inside and sat on the edge of the bed. I bought the flight at the airport counter, which is not how anyone wants to buy a flight. It was $850, which is not an amount of money that disappears quietly from a checking account. I stood at the kiosk and I put in my information, and I watched the number on the screen and I paid it because I didn't have another choice. I sat in the terminal for 4 hours because I'd gotten there early, out of a kind of frantic energy that had nowhere else to go. The confirmation email came through while I was sitting there. When I got home, I sent Claire a Venmo request. Not for half of $850, just half of what the original fare had been. She hasn't responded. She hasn't declined it either. The Venmo request is still sitting there open. There's a calendar invite for a call we were supposed to have. Both of us still technically RSVP'd. Yes, neither of us has cancelled it. The call is Thursday. Marcus texted me last week from his honeymoon. Just a picture of food with no context the way he always texts. And I sent back a thumbs up and he sent back a sun emoji, and that was the whole conversation. I've looked at the calendar invite maybe 6 times today. I haven't moved it.